The F3 accounts shows account information for the highlighted patient selected. The F4 insurance button shows insurance information for this person. A person can have as many insurances as necessary. Usually you'll have only one primary. You'll have a secondary. You may have a third or tertiary. You might have an old primary. You might have an old secondary, and so on, and you can add those, and we'll do that here in a second. F5 ledger, we saw that in the previous module where you can print the ledger for someone. F6 balance will show the patient balance without going to the account screen, and this shows he had $35 in charges, $35 in payments. He had one visit. His current account balance is 0. F7 ticket will print a charge ticket. And this is a charge ticket. This text, you get to enter yourself in a text file. Some people leave this portion blank and they just print the header onto pre-printed forms. The charge header is used when we're adding account information. We'll go over that in a minute. If you recall, in the patient screen, we had the notes field where you can enter notes about the patient. And these notes are never printed. But we have a more notes. More notes is used to track account information. It's a better use for that. We might say that, you notice it came up to today. These notes, you don't get to change the date. You're making a note for today. You can have multiple notes for today, but you're making a note for today. And we're going to say that account is paid in full. And we'll say OK. That's a note for that. I can add another note, and this is why it's called more notes. You can have as many of these as you want. Patient will pay brother's account. Okay, we'll say OK to that. Now we have 2 notes for this patient. You can have as many as you want. You can also print a report of what these notes are. And I could have hit the F10, and this shows these are notes for this person. This is my company name. This is the patient name, the date and the time of the report, and the date of and the note for the patient. This is useful for if someone's handling the account and they want to make phone calls, they can put the notes in about maybe they called Ronald and he said he's going to send a payment in. The F11 MS Word merge allows you to take the patient information, and if you have Microsoft Word from version 2000 on up, you can create a merge file, and it's going to contain this information. And then you can create a document. So for now, we'll just let you know you can do that. Now, we're going to add charges for Craig. We had put Craig in previous. We're going to go to F3 accounts. I'm going to push the F3 on the keyboard. It will call up Craig Parks's account information screen. There's nothing here. So what I'm going to do, I want to add charges. We can print the ledger, print balance. Look at the charges by date of service view. There's a difference between date entered and date of service. We can add charges, add payments, print a bill for just this one patient, print insurance for just this one patient, see a list of when we filed insurance for this one patient, and look at when we've sent a billing statement for this patient. We're going to add charges. The charge header comes up, very first thing. We need to know why we're at, what type of charges we're adding. So we're going to press Insert, and we're going to get the charge header information. We can assign a name to this. I'm going to say that this is a ankle injury. Okay. Date of illness or injury, I'm seeing him today. Sometimes you'll know that he injured himself on the 15th. If you know that, you can put it in. If not, leave it for the date that you saw them. You may know, and if you have a 1500 form in front of you, there's a field for date of same or similar illness. You might know that he injured himself back in July for the same thing. If he was disabled, you can put that in, start of disability, and you would select a date. If you don't want to select a date, you press the escape key. Date return to work is if the patient was on disability, when did they return to work? Date admitted hospital, date discharge hospital, referring physician if you have one. You can use the down arrow. We don't have any referring physicians in the system. You could add one at this time. I'm going to go ahead and say close. Now, supervising physician is seldom used. You'd have a supervising physician maybe if it was a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant and they were being supervised by someone. Box 19, I'm sorry, prior authorization number. You may have a prior authorization number from the insurance carrier. Box 19 is a free-form text field. And on the insurance form, there is a box 19. Prior authorization 2 would be if you had a secondary insurance carrier and they gave you a prior authorization number. Diagnosis code 1 is the primary diagnosis for this patient. Now, I have a list of diagnosis codes included with the system. Diagnosis codes are not copyrighted. CPT or procedure codes are copyrighted by the AMA. I can say it. If I type SP, it will go to sprain. No, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm in by the code. Let's go back to the description and we'll type SPR, and then we go to the sprain. We're seeing him for a sprained ankle. We don't have a prior authorization number. The patient might also have some other problems. Maybe he has, well, let's go by the code, and maybe we know that he has abnormal labs. We can click on that. If you know the code, I can type 792, and we'll accept that for now. If you had a fourth diagnosis, you could put that in. Was the injury or illness caused by employment? Was it caused by accident? Was it caused by auto? Or was it an emergency? If it was, you would click the one that's appropriate. If you click on auto accident, they want you to put in the state where the accident occurred. Let's say he had the accident in Texas. If the patient was in, it was not, and let's say it was an emergency also. If the patient was admitted to the hospital, you want to put in which hospital. You can click on the down arrow. We don't have any hospital.